Now, shockingly, just last week, switching gears here, the IRS announced that churches can now officially endorse political candidates to their congregations without risking their tax exempt status. This is brand new. This effectively guts the Johnson Amendment, which for decades has prevented churches from being used as campaign tools. And now, literally starting last week, pastors are free to explicitly tell congregates who to vote for and officially endorse candidates, further erasing the line between church and state, and that no one will lose their tax exempt status over it. Now, does this change a lot actually? Probably not, because churches were already becoming political, and only one church has actually lost its tax exempt status, and it was a church in 1992 that took out ads against Bill Clinton, and they lost their tax exempt status. That was a long time ago, so it's not something that the IRS has been policing, honestly, but what it does do is signal to evangelical and conservative religious organizations that this is a landmark victory for religious freedom and free speech, and a fulfillment of promises, because Trump promised to weaken this amendment in his first term. And so this has been considered a win for God against secularism. And now you can officially hear congregations say, we are endorsing so-and-so for president, or we are endorsing so-and-so in this local race, and we need to support this guy against the godless, whatever person on the other side. And so critics, including nonprofit watchdogs like the National Council of Nonprofits, warn that this is going to open the gates for political money laundering via churches, where contributions go to the church and the church isn't taxed, and then the church can endorse candidates. And this ruling could also redraw the boundaries of church and state separation, especially ahead of the 2026 midterms, because now megachurches could be called in to influence local elections or close races, even policy battles. And so at a time where religious identity is already more about your political identity, we're now effectively removing a key guardrail from keeping churches from becoming just overt campaign platforms. We no longer have that guardrail. And so we're not really doing religion in America anymore. No one is actually reading their Bible. The only person I think who is actually trying to decipher what the Bible says for itself is Dan McClellan. Everyone else, I think, is using it just to back up their politics, and no one is doing theology anymore. No one is really actually concerned with what does the Bible say in context. We're just using whatever, verses you want to pull out of the Bible to have these political fights and political debates.